That's right. You heard the title. Well, actually, you read the title. In this video, I'm talking about why I feel like Skylanders Swap Force, the third installment of the Skylanders series, does not feel like a Skylanders game to me. Or at least, the Skylanders game that feels the least like the Skylanders series. Now, I'm not saying that Skylanders Swap Force is a bad game. Far from that in this video. But, I'm just here to tell you why I feel like it kind of strays away from all the other Skylanders games, and I can't really tell you if that's a good thing or a bad thing. You'd have to decide that for yourself. But let's get some things out of the way that is like all the Skylanders games in this video. First of all, the gimmick for this game is a very Skylanders-esque gimmick. It was a neat gimmick, a cool gimmick, just like all the other games had, and Chaos for the most part feels the same sort of chaos, except for some parts which I'll talk about in the video. And there are a couple more things, but I want to get right into what this video is really about. So let's talk about why Skylanders Swap Force did not feel like a Skylanders game. Okay, so just to get this out of the way, most of the things I'm talking about of why I feel like Skylanders Swap Force is not feel like a Skylanders game is mostly opinion. So you can tell me if you agree or disagree in the comments below. But let's get into the biggest thing. Most of the OG characters in Skylanders were replaced by worse characters. Flynn is the only one that stays, and to some extent Eon, but he also kind of gets replaced. Tessa's the only one I'm okay with. I would still probably prefer Callie, because that's the role she fills, but those two characters are pretty interchangeable. I'm cool with whichever one they choose. And everyone else, though, I don't like. Everyone else is a major downgrade in my opinion. First of all, Persephone gets replaced by two weird hippo dudes. That's a downgrade. Like, you get upgraded in like this weird like plant thing with this big like hippo, and then there's a small hippo. I don't know. And for the most part, the chief just basically replaces Eon, even though Eon is at Woodboro. Not to mention that all the Mabu, you know, the epic gamers, got replaced by Fox people, who in my opinion are very annoying to listen to. And don't even get me started about Rufus. I don't even think Rufus was there to fill a role. I think they just added him. Don't do that. Rufus sucks. He's one of the worst. No, he is the worst NPC ever. Why? Just never mind. Just why Rufus? Sharpfin's the only character I think that I'm okay with, and I think that's because he wasn't added to fill a role. Sharpfin is there to be Sharpfin. He wasn't there to he wasn't there to, you know, take Callie's place, take Hugo's place. Also, Hugo just gets completely overshadowed in this game. Like, I don't think anyone takes his place. You could say that the other hippo dude does technically take his place. I guess you could say that. Or maybe Rufus kind of takes his place. I don't know. But Hugo is like barely mentioned in this game at all. So, that's cool. And, you know, you can see why I'm starting to say why this game doesn't feel like a Skylanders game, because for the most part, all the characters got replaced. And look at Flynn. He doesn't look like Flynn at all in this game. Now, I think it's okay if you need to like fill a role, but not with lesser characters. All these characters are have pretty much no depth to them whatsoever. It's really bad. Also, Woodboro does not feel like a Skylanders hub world at all, in my opinion. I can't really put my finger on it. Maybe because it just has a bunch of characters in the hub that aren't there in the previous games and don't come there in the later games, or the music doesn't sound that much Skylanders-esque. By the way, like Skylanders music has like a sort of theme, and a lot of the music in this game doesn't fit that theme, I don't think. And I can't tell you that's a good thing or a bad thing. That's another thing that would come to decision. But I don't think Woodboro like even looks like a hub world. Like the design of it, I don't know, just not a Skylanders hub world. You know what I'm saying? But you know, when the Skylanders hub, the main hub of the world doesn't feel like a Skylanders game, you're not off to a good start. Let's get to another thing. All the graphics are vastly different on this game, and while the graphics are good, except on the Wii version, I'm not really complaining about them boosting up the graphics. I think it was due time that they had to do that. But what they did with the graphics, I'm not a big fan of. First of all, these graphics, they made every one of the characters look more plasticky. And by the way, I'm not saying these graphics are bad. I actually think they're very good looking. But if you're upgrading the graphics from SSA and Giants, I don't think it would look like Swap Force. I think they'd look more like Trap Team. What I'm trying to say is that Swap Force does not have graphics that make me think about Skylanders. Also, like I said, what they did these graphics I'm not a big fan of. They made the toys look more plasticky, I think. Well, no, the actual characters in the game look way more plasticky. And they changed the design of the Chompies. like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Like, I don't know why they changed the design of the Chompies, but yeah, whatever. Also, another thing is that they got rid of trolls. Okay, well, they didn't technically get rid of trolls, but greebles in the game instead. And basically where the greebles are in this game, it's mostly where the trolls would usually be, because trolls are like always one of the main characters, but they kind of get pushed to the side in this game. Now, they do make appearances, by the way, looking very different from the older games. But, yeah, it's just kind of weird to see greebles all over the place instead of trolls. Another thing which doesn't make it feel like a Skylanders game, because all the things that were in the other Skylanders games aren't in this one. Also, like, I swear, every single enemy in this game has a freaking intro. Like, every single enemy you come across gets a stupid intro. Like, even every, like, different Chompy design. And I know in Skylanders, it's, you know, they have to have intros for some villains. I get that, whatever. But it's like not every other, it's like every villain or bad guy, whatever, in this game has an intro. I know Skylanders was already made for kids, but this just makes it feel like it was made for infants. I have no idea. You don't need an intro for every single character. Another big contributor for the Swap Force not feeling like a Skylanders game is the level design. The level design in this game is super weird. First of all, the levels are very long, and if you're trying to find everything, it could easily take over an hour. Some of the levels are even separated into 2 different parts. Like, I think almost every level is. Like, you have to load into the next part. What the heck is that? That's not in any other Skylanders game besides Trap Team in the last level of the Ultimate Weapon right before you go to Chaos. And that actually kind of makes sense. But in a bunch of levels, you have to load into a completely different section, which completely breaks the flow of an entire level. Like, come on, Vicarious Visions. And, I mean, let's go on Skylanders. The Skylanders game do look like Skylanders, but you can definitely see the Vicarious Vision Toys for Bob have very different approaches when it comes to Skylanders designs. As if you look at the Swap Force characters and Giants characters, or I should say the Swap Force characters and Trap Team characters, they do look very different, but that doesn't really matter because all Skylanders rosters are supposed to look different, so I'm okay with it. Also, can we talk about, like, Chaos's mom? I'm not saying that she contributes to it being like not a Skylanders game, but it's so weird how, like, this game mentions her, then never again. It's such a weird plot point. It's probably the most weird thing ever because Chaos's mom does technically make an appearance in Skylanders Giants. And it's just so strange how fastly Chaos's mom is just swept under the rug after Swap Force. There are a couple more things that contribute to this. Usually, you know, Chaos levels near the end have sort of an aesthetic. This definitely does not follow that aesthetic. It's like weird goo all over the place. I don't know. And I couldn't tell you if this is a good or bad thing. But there are a couple more examples, being enemies are, you know, vastly different from the ones we've previously seen. Most enemies they added are new enemies, but the evilized ones are pretty cool, I'll give it that. And like I said, there are a couple more things that, you know, like the gates, like the Swap Force gates, they take you completely out of the level, which again breaks the flow of a level. That's not how Skylanders levels usually work. Everything is usually in the same place, even if behind locked gates. So I think you guys get the point of what I'm saying now. I think there's a lot of things that contribute to Swap Force not feeling like a Skylanders games, and like I said, most of this is opinion, and just because all this stuff is different doesn't mean it's a bad Skylanders game. And you know, if this is a good or bad thing is really up to opinion. Like, do you like the character design more? Do you like the new graphics more? Do you like the new Chompy designs, troll designs, all of that? Do you like how they, you know, replaced every single character? I know a lot of people aren't a big fan of that one, but like I said, this mostly just comes down to opinion. But I feel like I've listed some good reasons why I feel like Swap Force does not. Well, I shouldn't say it doesn't feel like a Skylanders game, but I am, because, you know, that's what I've been saying the entire game. It just feels the least like a Skylanders game, in my opinion. So you could just say it doesn't feel like a Skylanders game. But, like I said again, not a bad game at all. You know, if you haven't played it, definitely go play it. But that's the end of the video, guys, and thank you guys for watching.